What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. A Super Showdown is now done and dusted, and did it live up to the hype? No, not really, it's Super Showdown, it's just a glorified pay-per-view. But one thing's for sure, it did have a very unexpected ending. Did it fall into the good, the bad, or the downright ugly? Join us now as Wrestlelamia recaps and reviews the 2020 edition of Super Showdown. Be sure to subscribe and click on that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. But let's waste no further time and get straight into the pre-show, as the Viking Raiders of Eric and Ivar took on the OC of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. This was a hard-hitting match that saw Ivar go for a moonsault on Carl Anderson, but the burly Viking takes too much time and there's nobody home. A magic killer on Ivar and it's all over. The winners are the OC. That was all for the pre-show, but now let's get into the main show as the show kicked off with the gauntlet match for the Tuwaiq trophy, which involved Rey Mysterio vs R-Truth, AJ Styles, Andrade, Eric Rowan and Bobby Lashley. Round 1 saw R-Truth vs Bobby Lashley, which is a good match with the surprising finish as R-Truth avoids a spear and Lashley dives into the corner. Truth seizes the opportunity and covers Lashley for the pin. A furious Lashley takes his frustrations out on R-Truth, beating him senseless after the match. Round 2 then sees R-Truth vs Andrade. Andrade works on R-Truth's softened up left shoulder and arm, but Truth shows incredible resiliency. Both men accidentally headbutt each other, and R-Truth gets the chance to pin when he lands on top of Andrade. R-Truth advances to round 3 where he takes on Eric Rowan. R-Truth is dead on his feet, but manages to take everything Rowan dishes out. When Rowan's cage is knocked off the steel steps, he goes berserk, blasting Truth with the steel steps, getting disqualified in the process. R-Truth moves on to round 4, but there's another post-match beatdown for Truth. The next opponent is the phenomenal AJ Styles in round 4, and Truth can barely stand and Styles taunts him throughout the match before making short work of him with the calf buster. AJ Styles moves on to round 5, which is the last round, and now it's supposedly AJ vs Rey Mysterio. Rey's music plays, but he doesn't come out. Styles laughs in the ring and we see why as Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows are seen backstage beating Rey down. Styles tells the referee to raise his hand, but the referee gives Rey a 10 count to make it to the ring. We then see someone beat down the OC and see some familiar feet. Who was the mystery man? Well, if you're Ray Charles and you couldn't see the obvious, it was The Undertaker. Taker comes down to the ring in his iconic entrance, and quickly shocks AJ and quickly subdues him with a chokeslam, and it's 1, 2, 3. The Undertaker is the Tuwaiq trophy winner. Man, poor Ray, he went all the way to Saudi Arabia to get a 10-second beatdown backstage. But Taker made short work of AJ as he didn't even remove his hat or his jacket. He even ignores the Tuwaiq trophy on the way out. Now this is the second time a tournament has seen another person win it when they weren't even supposed to be in the match. Still, it was a good surprise. Next up is the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Match between the New Day of Kofi Kingston and Big E as they take on The Miz and John Morrison. The match was everything Wrestlelamia hoped for and more. Non-stop excitement and near falls that saw The Miz and Morrison steal the win after Morrison drove a chair into Kofi's gut and The Miz rolled him up with a handful of tights. The Miz and Morrison are the new SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The way it should be, damn it. Next up, it's Angel Garza vs Humberto Carrillo. Both superstars battle like cruiserweights at time, but they also hit like heavyweights. Eclectic mix of high-flying moves and strong style wrestling that sees Angel Garza get a hard-fought pinfall victory. To be honest, we really weren't expecting him to win. We thought that this was typical rubber match booking, but obviously WWE proved otherwise. Next up, the Raw Tag Team Championship match as champions Seth Rollins and Murphy take on the Street Profits of Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. Now the Street Profits look strong, but when Murphy knocks Dawkins into the ropes, this allows Rollins to hit the curb stomp while the referee is distracted and Buddy Murphy takes control, getting the 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins and Murphy retain the Raw Tag Team Championship. Oh, and could we note the actual height that Montez Ford got when he hit that frog splash? Jeez, we thought he caught an early flight back to the States. Superb athleticism. Next up, it's the streak that nobody cares about, as we see if Mansoor can get it 4-0 with Dolph Ziggler. Robert Roode comes out with Dolph Ziggler at the beginning, but he's booted out of the match at the beginning, making it even Stevens. Now, we're never going to count out Dolph Ziggler as he's a veteran in the ring, but he got overconfident in the ring, allowing Mansoor to hit the DDT and moonsault for the win. Now again, we're not sure what was more predictable, the sun rising tomorrow or Mansoor getting another win in Saudi Arabia. Next up, the WWE Championship Match as Brock Lesnar takes on this month's sacrificial lamb, aka Ricochet. Oh boy. Could we just mention the time limit for this match just before we get into the good, bad and the downright ugly? 1 minute and 14 seconds. Now, if you thought that was Ricochet's time on defeating the champion, you're pretty much an idiot. Ricochet tried to go in for the early advantage and charge the beast, only to get beat down. Suplex City and an F5 make short work of Ricochet, although he did at least last longer than Kofi Kingston. As predicted, Brock Lesnar retains the WWE Championship. Next up is the 494th battle between King Corbin vs Roman Reigns, but this time in a steel cage match. It's a slugfest between two powerhouses that see Roman get the win after Corbin becomes entrapped in the ropes, making him an easy target for two Superman punches, followed by another with a steel chain around Roman's fist. Reigns doesn't even escape the cage as Corbin counts the lights with a pin. Next up, the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Bayley and Naomi. Now, Naomi looks to be on track for her third SmackDown Women's Championship, but Bayley pulls a fast one, tying Naomi up, then trapping her leg in her shirt as Bayley drives Naomi headfirst into the mat for the 1-2-3. Bayley retains the SmackDown Women's Championship. And now it's time for the main event, the Universal Championship match between champion The Fiend versus Bill Goldberg. Now, Bill Goldberg does what no one has ever done in the WWE, pin The Fiend. No, that's not a mistake, Bray Wyatt has been pinned but The Fiend hasn't. After several spears, Dollar Bill escapes the mandible claw twice and then hits the jackhammer for the incredible win. Goldberg is the new Universal Champion as Super ShowDown closes out. Wait a minute, wasn't there one other match? Wasn't there supposed to be an Intercontinental Championship match between Braun Strowman and Shinsuke Nakamura? Did that just get cancelled last minute and nobody knew about it? Did the show overrun so they couldn't fit in the match? Who knows, we'll find out tomorrow probably. But that was a quick recap of the show. Now let's look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good, as number 1, opening off on the right foot. The OC and the Viking Raiders got the show off right with a hard-hitting bout. Kudos to both teams for a strong performance. Part of what made the match work so well was both teams' excellence at selling for each other. The fans were still getting into the arena while this match took place, but the ones on hand were definitely behind it. Both teams deserve more than they're doing right now, something evident from tonight's performance. On a side note, Ivar is a beast and at some point, the WWE should consider pushing him as a singles act, especially if the promotion has nothing for the Viking Raiders to do. Probably all in good time. Number 2, the King is dead. Now, while King Corbin isn't dead, which is good as he's starting to grow on us as a heel, his feud with Roman Reigns is finally over. Yep, it only took 494 matches. The WWE has a bad track record with feuds, and while Reigns vs Corbin feud was a pleasant surprise, it had definitely run its course and should have ended at the Royal Rumble. Now, we know WWE figured a cage match between these two was a good sell for Super ShowDown. Please make sure this is really the end of their program. Oh lord, rematch tomorrow. Oh, just kidding. Number 3, the return of The Undertaker. The Undertaker may get criticized for wrestling past his prime, yet there weren't any boos when the Phenom showed up to give AJ Styles some comeuppance. The Undertaker's return wasn't a surprise, but his entrance was incredible, and the fans are now primed for an AJ vs Taker bout at the Showcase of the Immortals. Number 4, terrific tag teams. As mentioned earlier, the kickoff tag match was another reminder of the WWE's talented tag teams. However, the definitive display of tag team excellence was tonight's tag match between The New Day and The Miz and Morrison. There was no doubt this would be a great match, but both teams didn't take anything for granted and over-delivered to an unbelievable degree. The match was packed with near falls that seemed natural and not forced, and there was a powerful flow from start to finish. Perhaps the most incredible part of the match was seeing John Morrison performing moves like he'd stepped out of 2010. Both teams have incredible chemistry, and we can only hope these two tangle for many months to come. Number 5, an underdog story. Now, while R-Truth is mostly used for comedic purposes, he's still a good wrestler, and it was refreshing to see him play the underdog in the Tuwaiq trophy match, making it all the way to round 4 before too many post-match beatdowns took their toll on him. Of course, the tournament was all about setting up AJ versus The Undertaker, but Truth enjoyed some time in the spotlight, and it was a fun part of the match. But that was the good. What about the bad? Number 1. The Champ and the Chump. The Raw Tag Team Champions are a classic case of one wrestler doing all the work for a tag team. Murphy and Seth Rollins have zero chemistry, and although Buddy is a damn fine wrestler, his team with Rollins is awful. The only saving grace of the team is when Rollins enters the ring. We've said it numerous times, the WWE made a big mistake putting the tag team titles on Rollins and Murphy, especially when you consider how many great teams they have, and if it wasn't for the Street Profits, this match would have been a complete dud. Number 2. WWE Championship Squash. Speaking of duds, how about that match between Brock Lesnar and Ricochet? Although no one expected Ricochet to come out with the championship, this was a complete squash with little purpose other than putting Lesnar over, as if he needs to be put over anymore. Anyone who thinks Ricochet benefited from this match has no idea how the business works. This could be the final nail in Ricochet's career, as he's become the high-flying version of Cesaro, an extremely talented superstar who just can't seem to win. There wasn't even some sort of post-match activity to make this anything memorable. Talk about letting your fans down with a dud of a match. Again, let's reiterate, 1 minute 14, zero offense. Number 3. The streak no one cares about. Mansoor is a talented wrestler, but so what? The WWE has many talented wrestlers, and the streak the WWE is building for Mansoor, undefeated in his homeland of Saudi Arabia, is pretty much meaningless, especially when you consider he's defeated 2 notorious jobbers, Cesaro and Dolph Ziggler. Yeah, the WWE wants to give their Saudi fans something to be excited about, but to be honest, they weren't as excited tonight. In fact, we even heard a few boos. Anybody know what that's about? Are they sick of Mansoor already? And lastly, can the crowd shots. The WWE nearly did it again a few times, almost missing near falls due to their irresistible impulse to show the crowd. If the WWE insist on showing the crowd, do a picture-in-picture. Nobody on television wants to miss a key moment just to see members of the WWE Universe. Well, thankfully, it seems as if someone told the production crew to stop things early on in the show. And that was the bad? What about the downright ugly? A true WTF moment. Okay, they did one thing good with this match, turn that damn red light off. Tonight saw the WWE really shock the WWE Universe as Bill Goldberg did the seemingly impossible, putting the Fiend's shoulders to the mat for the pinfall victory. Is it hotshot booking? Perhaps, but for now it has everyone talking. Whether the payoff proves good in the long run remains to be seen, but the WWE will savour the buzz for now. Let's just hope they haven't killed the Fiend's momentum. Is this really the second time he's been screwed just before WrestleMania? Anyway, there you have it guys, the results for the 2020 Super Showdown event, as well as the good, the bad and the downright ugly. Did you guys watch this show? What did you think of the ending? Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.